This is the HaltingWinter Podcast. I'm your host, Seth Winterhalter. HaltingWinter is here to help small business owners escape the stress and the overwhelm of trying to grow your business. What do? We give you the tools and the support to not only grow, but to double your revenue year after year. That's right. We are here to help you double your revenue. How? By installing the proven frameworks that don't need to be reinvented every time you hit a new level of growth. These are the solid steel skyscraper frameworks that are going to let you build your business as big as you want it. Remember, just because you're a small business doesn't mean you can't think big, act big, make big revenue, and have a big impact. That's what we're doing on this podcast. In fact, we are in the middle of a 12-part series helping you think through, work through the 12 steps I would recommend any business to take, whether you want to launch, grow, or scale. These are the 12 steps you need to take in order to reset and grow your business. You need to look at what you offer and your products. The first two episodes were about products. What are you offering? And is that actually necessary and needed in your in the customer field? And what are the tools to help you do that? We talked about that. We talked about marketing. How do you, now that you know you have a product, how do you actually find a targeted audience to give that to? Who needs it? Who wants it? And how do you grab their attention and compel them to take action to actually purchase your product? Now we're talking about sales. Now that I have their attention, how do I actually close more sales? Last week we talked about the number one thing you can do for sales. The number one thing you need to do is to shut up and listen. Stop talking and open up your ears to be able to hear who your customer is, what their problem is, and how your product can actually solve that problem. Today, we're taking the sixth step, and that is this. Now it's my turn to speak. I've listened, now when I've done the number one thing to close more sales, and that is listen, now what do I do when I can actually open my mouth and say something? What do I say to close more sales? So, you listen to your customer, you heard their problems, you know exactly how your product is the perfect solution. What do you say to close that sale? That's what we're talking about today on the HaltingWinter Podcast. So let's just dive right in. The second most important step to close more sales: know when to speak and know what to say. Here are a few rules. In fact, let's do 4 rules. 4 rules to help me know when to speak and what to say. Number 1, when do I speak? When I've exhausted my questions. Ask more questions before you speak. Don't just ask one question and then let that be the entry gate for you to open up Valhalla's walls of the flood of chaos, right? We love to speak. We think that it's the temptation of every salesperson is I have the hidden knowledge. I have the hidden answers. You want to hear me speak because I'm going to woo you and smooze you, and I drip awesomeness. And so this is why at the end of the day, a lot of people who don't think they're good at sales are actually amazing at sales. You want to know why? Because you don't need to be all that. You don't need to be the quintessential salesperson who's all sharp and has it together and wows. And sure, that person can sell, but they're really selling themselves. They're not selling the product. And the problem is that person is probably not going to build a long list of clients. That's why those people tend to move jobs all the time, is because they sell themselves and not the product. And so once that person goes home with a product, it's not the actual solution to their problem. That salesperson was. Well, that salesperson ain't going home with you. So let me remind you that the whole dance and schmoozle is not always the best move. In fact, it's not the best move. The best move is for you. You say, well, I'm not really gregarious. I don't feel like a huge extrovert. Who cares? In fact, that might be a better disposition for you to sell because you won't try to wow them and flash them. Instead, you will be calm and reserved, and you'll probably have your nature to just ask questions and listen is probably higher and better. And I know a lot of people that I look at and go, how in the world are you selling so much? It's because of this. They're way more comfortable letting the other person speak, and they're very good at just asking questions. Well, tell me more. So what's your problem? Well, tell me more. Tell me about how frustrating it is for you. Tell me why it's frustrating. Let's really dig down. So they have an easier time digging down deep into the problem. So it feels like almost a therapy session. This person's just digging all this frustration, and then they've got the person, they've created this empathy by just listening and reframing what their problem and struggle is. And so now they're able to speak. So number one rule, just ask more questions. Always ask another question, right? If you feel comfortable in speaking, ask one more question and then speak. In sales, you start with the problem. Here's number two. Number two is you want to start with the problem, so you need to dig deeper in order to feel deeper. You need to dig deeper in order to feel deeper. And this is both ways. You want to feel deeper for your customer, because the more empathy you have, the better you're going to come across in selling to them. If you don't have empathy, if you just have solutions, you're not going to create a bond, right? Sales is about relationship. And the only way to create relationship is through empathy first and then authority. Oftentimes in sales, we rush to authority. Well, let me tell you, I can solve all your problems, and this is my product. And we don't really build a relationship. Asking more questions and really feeling the frustrations of your customer, feeling the hell that they're in. We call this the hell. They're in this hell. They have this problem. That's why they've come to you. That's why they're talking with you, to find a solution, to see if you have the solution. So press into that. Press into that. So number one, ask more questions before you speak. Number two, ask questions in a way that dig deeper into their problem, into their frustration, into that hell that they're in, that prison that they're in, so you can unlock them. Three, then, don't start with your solution. Don't just jump in when they say, this is the pain point, and you go, oh, this is going to be awesome. I'm here to pitch the product, which is going to solve all your problems. Instead, watch this. Instead of starting with your solution, encourage them to paint a perfect solution. Encourage them to paint a picture of the heaven that they want to get to. They're in hell now with their problem. Help them paint a picture of their heaven. Why? Because now they're painting the picture of their solution. You're the solution. You already know that. But they're going to paint the heaven in their words. And so not only do you have the words and the descriptions from them of their problem, of their hell, you are going to take their picture of heaven and put your product right there. Once they paint the picture, they've painted it. And so you're going to come in number four, and now when you speak, you're going to reaffirm their problem and say, man, I get it. Empathy. I get it. That sucks. That's frustrating. Man, I understand. And you said that you wanted to get here. You said that you didn't want to have frustrations. You wanted to have, right, good feelings. Guess what? I think the product is going to, our services can get you to that heaven. Now, all of a sudden, the work is done for you. They painted the hell that you're going to deliver them from. They painted the heaven, which you're going to take them to. And guess what? You're not going to over-explain features and benefits they didn't ask about. That's also the temptation. Well, let me tell you about this. Let me tell you about this. It does this. If they didn't mention it, why would you bring it up? Because now, it only does two things. Number one, it confuses them because they're like, oh, it does? Oh, okay. Well, now they're trying to, do I need that? And it could be a turnoff. That's the other thing. They could now go, number two, they could hear something that not only confuses them, but now they're going, oh, well, I don't need that. So maybe there's a version that's cheaper or less that doesn't have all the gadgets and gizmos that I don't need. So I just need this. Are you tracking with me? This is so important. Be careful to only talk about what they said. You are not, I think we think, they're going to know it does this, but it does all this. And so they're going to be overwhelmed and delighted. They're going to be overwhelmed and go out the door and see if they can find it cheaper because they don't need all those things. They told you what they needed. Just tell them what they need. They can discover on their own all the other gadgets and gizmos. They can discover in time those other things that are then going to be like, and it does that too, because that's a problem. See, that's the other thing. Remember, whatever their problem is right now isn't entirely, no one has a magic elixir to take away every problem of their present and of their future. You can help with a problem right now, but guess what? They may have a problem that may lead to another problem. As they move their way out of that hell, they may get to this level like, oh, now I have this problem. And you can be like, guess what? The product that you bought also does that. What? Raving fan for life. Do you see? Like, don't spill all the beans and overwhelm them, especially overwhelm them in a way that makes them want to go find it elsewhere. I would, in fact, there's features and benefits. I would just encourage you, hardly mention features, because features confuse people. We know the features because we spent so much time building them, creating them, and putting them into our products, because we know features are what help people. Explain it in benefits, though. People understand benefits because benefits are how it makes us feel. Yes, this computer has this feature that speeds up this and does this, but the benefit is, man, it's so much faster. Well, that sounds better than you explaining all the features that go over my head. Okay, you know them, you understand them, but your customer's an idiot. Just like I'm an idiot when it comes to anything on my car. I don't know. And so when I go into the mechanic, I entirely trust them. And when they start telling me gadgets and gizmos and, well, we can do this, I'm just like, okay, well, I just have to trust you. And so then here's what's interesting. For me, because I don't know anything, the more that owner or whoever I'm dealing with, the more that person helps empathize with me and go, man, I get it. It can be frustrating to come in and when you just came in for an oil change and now you see there's $2,000 of work we're recommending. I get that can be overwhelming. Here's what we found, and here's where it is on the depth chart of seriousness. Man, all of a sudden you're taking time to have empathy with me to, then I feel like, well, I want to trust you. Instead, what I usually get at these places is, hey, there's this. And I'm like, man, I was just in 3 months ago and none of this was on this. Oh, well, Hector looked at it today and Tim looked at it the other time and I'm not sure what happened. Hector's a new guy, so maybe Tim didn't know what he was talking about. And I'm like, dude, you're not building any trust. I just had this happen. So I'm just like, I would never use you. In fact, I'm never using you again because now I'm ticked because A, you just told me that I need thousands of dollars of work done on my vehicle. And B, it's out of the blue and there's no empathy. It's just like excuses. And maybe it's because I hate excuses, right? And I think people do hate excuses. It feels like the runaround. It feels like no one wants to take ownership. So take ownership. Take ownership and be careful not to overwhelm them with features. Instead, stick to the benefits because I can feel benefits. And we want your car to here's the issue. If you don't fix this part, your car's going to ride real rough. In fact, it's not the end of you're not going to break it by not fixing that, but you notice it already. And now you're going to hyper notice it because I told you I brought it to awareness. So I'm just saying, if you want that taken care of, we can take care of that. That's not a normal, your car should be riding way better. Okay. Now it's up to me. Do I like it? Do I not? Am I annoyed by it? Okay. That makes me feel better. I'm getting more information and I'm feeling it's in my terms now a benefit instead of a feature I'm not going to understand. Okay, so know when to speak, know what to say. Ask more questions, dig deeper in order to feel deeper. Don't start with your solution. Instead, have them paint the picture of their heaven so then you can use their words for their problem, for their hell, but you can also use their words for their heaven and put your product in as the vehicle to get them there. And then when you speak, reaffirm their problem in their words. Only talk about your product as the solution that they painted. Don't over-explain features. Don't even over-explain benefits that they didn't ask about. In fact, hardly mention the features. Stick with the benefits. Finally, final thing. Ask for the sale. 4 words. Ask for the sale. And don't say, well, what do you think? Oh, stop it. Instead, right? So if I'm a TV salesman, I just have this in my head that I used to work at Circuit City in college. That tells you how long ago I went to college because Circuit City doesn't even exist anymore. If you're selling a TV, I don't say, well, what do you think? What do you think of this Zenith? There's another brand that I don't even know exists anymore. What do you think of this RCA? What do you think of this Sony? What do you think? I'm never asking what do you think. I don't want to know what they think. I want them to buy the product. So what am I going to say? I'm going to instead, when I've done all my work, to say, man, that sucks that your TV just stopped working. So upsetting. That's so frustrating. This Sony it ranks highest in customer satisfaction. It's on the Consumer Report top 3 list. It's got the best sound. Its picture, I showed you the picture. It's the clearest of all of them. It's phenomenal. It's going to last. It's got a great warranty on it, 3 years. So it's going to outlast that TV for sure, but trust me, it's going to last for so much more. It is going to be a great product. It's going to look stunning in your living room. It's going to give you what you wanted. You said you wanted a little bit bigger, a stunning, clear image, and you want a great movie sound. This is going to do that for you. What day would you like to schedule delivery? I've got Friday or Monday. See what I did there? I didn't ask, well, what do you think? No, in fact, I didn't. I assumed the sale and went right to the next thing. What day would you like to schedule delivery? And I didn't just leave it open-ended. What day would you like? Friday or Monday? Because I knew what days I could do. See, I as a prepared salesperson need to know. What day can we start our sessions? What day can, right? What is, you need to know that as a salesperson. What is not would you like to buy? It's what's the step after that I can actually schedule. Because now you've assumed it, and now they're assuming that they're in. They've got to actually back up the conversation if they don't want to be in. They've got to go, oh, wait, well, I have questions, and that's why they shouldn't have any questions. You should have exhausted all their questions. You should have, in that process, got them to say, man, what do you think about this one? It looks like you're asking questions to get them to affirm that that's the one. You're not going to do this when you're halfway through the sale and they're still like, well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I like the RCA, or I'm not sure between the RCA or the Sony. Well, talk about that. What do you like about the RCA? What do you like about the Sony? Let's talk about, in light of what you said are important to you, let's talk about the benefits of each, and what do you think now? You're constantly getting feedback. Even as you are dripping some information, you want to get feedback from that. How is that making them feel? What are they thinking about that? So by the time you go for the close, it's already closed. The only hesitation is going to be, just like everyone is, oh, now I actually have to pay for this. But guess what? If they're there, 9 out of 10 times they have the money. Why would they talk to you if they didn't have the money? Why would you be talking to them if they didn't have the money? This is where you have to leave some clues, right? Circuit City had price tags on the TVs. So if we even looked at the Sony, like, hey, here's the Sony, like, well, what do you think about this? Oh, that's way too much money. Okay, well, let's go down. People will be, usually in the sales process, they're not going to waste your time. They're going to give themselves away through their body language, through their actual language. So you can kind of tell if price is everything for them from the get-go to the end, then you need to qualify them. And you should probably have a conversation before that to qualify, to say, hey, our programs start at, this, or, even in your application form, our programs start at this, is our finances a hindrance for you in starting your journey today? Like, you need to get some kind of information to make sure that they're somewhere in the ballpark, but then just assume assume that they can do it, assume that they can pay, and go to that next question. When would you like to start? What would you like to start on this day or this day? And again, frame it like that. Don't leave it so open-ended. Leave it, I call it the quasi open-ended, right? It's a choice, Friday or Monday, or this time or this time. Like, you want to get to that next level, and you want there to be enough clarity for them to have to think. Now I have to think. Now I'm making another choice. I'm choosing Friday or Monday for delivery. I'm not even choosing the sale. I've got to back up and go, wait a minute. I got to choose whether I want this or not. I'm already assuming because we've had a conversation about it. Does that help? I hope that helps for you to think about. That's right. I have to ask for the sell, and don't ask broad, well, what do you think? I already know what they think, because that's what we've been talking about. Now I need to know when they want it delivered. So if you need help working through your sales process, if you need some of this, sometimes this can help just to think through, to do, some role play, to figure out like, how would I do that? Can I listen to some sales calls so I get some feedback on this? If you want to grow in your sales process to become a better salesperson, close more sales, I want to encourage you. This is one of the components that we do in our small business flight school launching in May 2023, a month away. Flight School is a 6-month program designed to help you get clarity and to create a strategy to grow your small business and to double your current annual revenue. That is our aim. We will not be satisfied if you do not double your revenue. And so that's not just a word, a gimmick. Ooh, I'd love to. Of course, everyone would love to double their revenue, but that's why I'm putting it in there, because if I don't do it, I'm going to feel like my program failed you. And guess what? I don't fail. Like, it's just not, if you look at my track record, look at the last 20 years, not a lot of things I've failed at. Why? Because I only take on that which I know I can succeed at. Like, that's part of my lens. I only want to be a part of things I can make better. And trust me, if I allow you to be in flight school, if you work through the application process and I have you come in, I believe that we can double your revenue. So let's get after it. Apply today, and let's see if we can help you double your revenue and grow to become a more successful, more impactful business. How do you find out about Flight School? You go to smallbizflightschool.com. 4 words. smallbizflightschool.com. Apply today. We have 3 programs: the do it yourself, the do it together, or to do it with personalized coaching. The 2 programs, do it together, you have access to all the group coaching. You have access to just, you're going to be so bombarded with amazing tools and resources. It's going to be awesome. And you're going to feel, trust me, it's good. I can't wait because I love surprising people. I love making things awesome for people. And I think you are just, not only are you going to grow your business and make a lot more money, you're going to have the time of your life doing that, because that's what I love, bringing energy and positivity and fun. I think life should be fun, right? This is your life. Like, why make it dull? Why make it stressful? Why make it overwhelming? No. Let's go make every day a party. So we are going to have a ton of fun, and we are going to not just have fun, but grow your business and double your revenue. So let's get your business up in the air. Let's get it soaring farther, faster, and higher than ever before, higher than you could ever go alone. Smallbizflightschool.com. I'll see you there, and I'll see you next time.